Of course, as we all know that we are here for the announcement of the bonus payment to all the staff of Public Rental Board. And the wonderful thing is that everybody in the Public Rental Board for the years 2014, where you had 32 staff engaged, and 2015, where you had 13 staff engaged, all of you will be getting a bonus. The bonus payout for 2014 is $19,617.30. In 2015 is $21,558.03 that will be shared amongst yourselves. We have, of course, for those of you who may not be aware, in 2014 you had 13 unestablished staff, 12 administrative staff, and 7 technical and senior staff. In 2015 you had 16 unestablished staff, 11 administrative staff, and 6 technical and senior staff. So everybody who, irrespective of whichever category of employment they're in, will be getting a bonus. This, of course, is a testimony to the teamwork that you've all put in for you to be able to not just meet your targets, but be able to go beyond that to have the Public Rental Board performing at a particular level. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to once again point out to you that all of you play a very pivotal and key role in providing a particular right to ordinary Fijians, and that is a right to having a roof over their head. Under the Fijian constitution, it is a right for a person to have access to affordable housing, and that is precisely what we are trying to do. And you play a very pivotal role in that. As you would know, that most of your client base, a lot of them are people who come from low-income families, low-income backgrounds. Some of them don't have jobs. Some of the people may be disabled. Some people who may be single parents. A lot of children, maybe abandoned families. All of these people who need assistance. And as you know, that the government, in particular the Bainimarama government and now the Fiji First government post-2014, has been putting a lot of capital works or capital funding into providing or creating more such housing. And you would have just heard the acting CEO who mentioned the fact that you've got these projects coming up in Savusavu, in Colombo, and of course in Simla, where we've outlaid millions of dollars to be able to have these flats built. I'd like to, before I go into some policy announcements, I'd like to mention to you and once again thank you for your hard work. I know it's not necessarily easy, in particular sometimes with the client base. You of course have the maintenance of the properties, you also have the management of those properties. And we know there's also a lot of pressure. I mean, just yesterday I received a text message from somebody who's complaining to me that they had put their name in to get access to a Public Rental Board flat, but they have not heard back. So there could be of course a lot of pressure. And we know that, we recognize that, and you do work under very strenuous conditions. So comparatively, I suppose one can argue this is a modest bonus, but nonetheless it is a recognition of the fact of your hard work, and we look forward to you contributing and developing more. As I've said in some of the other functions recently where I've been to, we need to inculcate a way of thinking in our jobs in Fiji. So just because somebody may be a driver, or somebody may be a cleaner, or somebody may be just a simple administrative staff, those on senior positions above them should never look down on them. Because all of these people, the cleaner or the maintenance person who may be going and fixing up these apartments or looking after these apartments, they may actually have an idea that is a fantastic idea because of the experience, because of the exposure, because maybe they deal with maintenance. So everybody's ideas, everybody's input must always be valued. That's very, very important. And that is, we must create an environment where everybody can sit down. Maybe the cashier who's taking the rental money may actually have an idea about how Public Rental Board can do better. So I would urge everybody, first of all, who work for Public Rental Board to be able to contribute ideas. And of course the management must create that environment to allow everybody to have a free flow of ideas. You know, sometimes we have this idea also that you come to work at 8:30, go home at 4:30, and then therefore you cut yourself off. But if you look at many of the countries like Singapore, if you see the staff, a lot of them constantly, they may read an article in the newspaper or talk about issues that affect their work as to how they can improve that. So if we think about it as a team, the PRB will be able to do more. If the PRB does more, if the PRB does improve, you not only have better quality services to your staff, but you also get better bonuses too. So it works in everybody's favor and also works for the benefit of ordinary Fijians. A couple of weeks ago, the Minister for Housing, Honorable Praveen Bala, and I met up with some people from IFC and World Bank housing teams who have in fact provided and created long-term solutions in many of the squatter areas, in slum areas, in other parts of the world, and how we can actually provide a stockpile of accommodation. As you know, we are catching up. The cost of a unit in the public rental board housing when you build from scratch approximately works out to be about $80,000 a flat. Now that's a lot of money for one-bedroom flat or two-bedroom flat even, maybe even more for that. But the fact is it is very expensive. So in Fiji, the level of technology that we are using in construction is actually a bit behind in what other countries are doing. In other countries, when they do have large rebuilds, or not just rebuilds but new builds of that type of accommodation, they use new technology. New technology that not only fastens the speed of construction, but also the materials that are used that are even longer lasting, but actually is a lot more cost effective. So we did talk about issues like that, but also we see an opportunity to partner with the private sector. If we are able to partner with the private sector, and the public rental board does not necessarily only engage in construction, but more management. I mean, assuming if somebody, for example, said to the public rental board, we will build a block of apartments, of 1,000 apartments, and as long as government subsidizes us, you collect the rent, but you pay us the difference from the market rate, and we want public rental board to manage it, that's much better model, because suddenly you'll have 1,000 apartments available. And all public rental board will do, we need to manage it. And government can, the millions of dollars that we are setting aside in construction, can use that to subsidize rents. But the actual construction will be done by somebody else. So these are different models that we are looking at, and of course we'll be looking at as to how we can support it through the upcoming budget for next year. But there are some exciting times ahead, and I'd like to also thank the board for the input. As you know, that we've got some new members on the board, and they've been working very hard in respect of addressing some of the outstanding issues. But I urge you to please work together with the board, the management. The board is here. We want to look at innovative ideas and also to expedite or fasten the availability of more flats, more accommodation available to Fijians. You know, in the same way, for example, we have thought, this is probably a side issue, we've had affordable housing built in Fiji many years ago, and what's actually happened is those areas then become condemned as low-cost housing areas. So people who may have flats there, or people who may have bought small houses there, they don't actually make a progression out of those areas, or they don't actually make a progression in terms of the appreciation of the value of the assets. So we need to be able to ensure that when we do look at housing overall, we need to provide people the opportunity that if they do buy a small ordinary two-bedroom flat or one-bedroom flat, that in 5 or 10 years' time, the value of that property must go up. If the value of the property goes up, then if they want to sell it and move to another bigger place, they have the ability to do that. In most parts, in some of the suburbs, you'll see in Suva, for example, where people may have bought a house a few years ago for, say $150,000, $200,000, $300,000, 10 years down the track, they're selling for $800,000, $900,000 because the value of property has gone up. But where you have, for example, affordable housing, or what they used to call low-cost housing in certain parts in Fiji, the value of those properties has not gone up. People say, oh, that's the low-cost housing area. So we don't want that. What we want is what you call a combination of different types of properties in the same location. If you have that, for example, if you go to Singapore, because they're so small, but they have so many people, Singapore is the size of Tavuni. So when they build housing, they actually go up. They have 20 stories, 15 stories. But you'll find that on one floor, you may have a 1-bedroom flat, basic. But on the same floor, you may have a 3-bedroom large flat, which is more expensive end. Then you may have a 2-bedroom flat. So they mix it. So when they mix it, that entire block of flats is seen as a, not something that's just only low-cost housing. So the value of it always appreciates. So even the guy who's bought, or the person who's bought a 1-bedroom flat, in a few years' time, the value of the 1-bedroom flat improves. So they can sell that, sell it to somebody else, move on to maybe the 2-bedroom one, move on to maybe the 3-bedroom one. And as you know, many people who've lived in low-cost housing areas, when the husband and wife move in, then they have children, and the children grow up, and the children start working. But you see them all living in the same house, because but the income capacity has increased. So we need to be able to think about many of these things on a long-term basis, and that's what we are doing. So I'm sure some of you have some very bright ideas. You may have some good ideas, some practical solutions that you may want to contribute. So please do so. And once again, I'd like to thank you very much for your contribution and for your hard work. We look forward to that again. Fiji is actually in a very exciting space economically. We are doing well. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of positive feedback in respect from our development partners. They're all willing to look at Fiji because of very good financial management. And because of good financial management, we are able to do a lot more for the ordinary citizens. And of course, we want to be able to work with you to be able to do a lot more for you too. So thank you very much, and I wish you all a very good afternoon. Thank you.